Alright, so I just soloed Eye of the Storm, CT-15 obviously, because you have to do that, as a Devastator. Unfortunately I didn't record the solo itself, because I didn't expect it to be so easy. But you'll find out why it was so easy when I show my build. It took me a little over 16 minutes. And I am the Warden Path. And I believe this was the 10th one I soloed. The 10th expedition. That's all junk, of course. We'll see the time here, but Devastator, Warden Path. It is just me. $1.4 million damage blocked, 938,000 damage taken. And this is the primary source of damage right here, which I will show you with the build. Because obviously, let's go to the class first. Obviously, with a build like this, you wouldn't be expecting someone to do that much damage. Just straight tank. Don't even take the capstone. I'll explain that why. Because if you're going Warden, you will do no damage. In this game, at endgame, if you aren't straight firepower or you aren't straight anomaly power, you will do nothing. You will do no damage, and even if you are straight firepower, you still have to. I don't know how it is for Devastator, because all their bleed skills are down here. I'd imagine it's pretty bad, but for all the other classes, you have to use their, fire rounds or lava rounds, blighted rounds, whatever. I forget what the trickster one is. And you have to use all those. With this, it's just full defensive build, right? Additional 10% health. It heals you 50% of your max health every 180 seconds if you die. Enemy dies in close range, 20% of their armor transferred to you. And then instead of taking the capstone as the last point into the fray, even though I only have one skill that it works with, it's still better than nothing, because this build is entirely just damage mitigation and health regeneration. And as you saw with the mod, how I deal damage is this. Moaning Winds. That is the most important factor of dealing damage as a full tank build. Because what it allows you to do is actually deal damage if you're a tank. The mods over here aren't too important. I just took statue gear because this is normally for playing with friends. And yeah, that's this build. You can solo Eye of the Storm without even having mods specifically just for you. Like this Tremors mod, pointless, because it just gives 40% weapon damage to allies. Uh, the set bonus, also pretty much pointless for me. But all of the other mods, defensives, right? Except that one made of marble, that's terrible. Human Fortress, good. Life of the Party, good. Incoming damage reduced by 3% for each enemy in close range, stacks up to 8 times. Damage Absorber, one of the best mods in the whole game for this tank build. Golem Squad. Perseverance, increase the duration. Not impressed. You need not impressed. And then, of course, yep. Some random person joins my game. But that is the whole build. Kinetic Stomp is useful just for extra damage. You saw it was like 17 million, and Sandstorm like 14 million or something like that. But the main damage, Moaning Winds, because I will show you the whole damage rotation right now. Walk up to an enemy with this, shoot, reload, shoot them with this, reload, shoot, reload, switch back to the weapon you started with, wait 3 seconds, you can shoot because this one has the effect, do it again. And that's the whole build. That is the entire build. And I'm assuming that they're probably going to nerf this once they figure this out, because, as we know, they enjoy nerfing things that allow you to play the game. Because if you're a full tank build, I'm going to say it right now, you are completely useless. You are so useless. You can't do anything. You can't kill anything at all. All you can do is revive people. The Moaning Winds mod allows you to at least do damage. Without that mod existing, you wouldn't be able to do anything as a pure tank build. So if you want to do this, you know, you could do it without the legendary set. Like, you just need damage absorber. Not impressed, you definitely want not impressed. Perseverance. Golem Squad's okay, but it's only 20% extra duration. Human Fortress, Life of the Party is good as well. And if you only play solo, you can get rid of some of those team ones, like Power of the Stones. Made of Marble, you could just toss that. That's trash. Mosh Pit is good, just because, you know, it does add extra damage to your Moaning Winds. I'm going to explain that right now as well. Endless Mass, there's a thing in this game, which I'm assuming they'll patch at some point, where enemies that are in an animation can glitch. When you use Endless Mass on them, it freezes them entirely in place. It doesn't even use the Endless Mass effect, and it doesn't make Endless Mass go on cooldown. I just discovered this accidentally. It happened to me a couple times before. I was like, okay, I'm not sure how consistent that is. In the Eye of the Storm boss fight, it is so consistent that whenever he does, I forget what the ability is called, but he puts the big blue shield around him and shoots out at you, and you just run around to avoid it. Whenever he does that, you can endlessly, no pun intended, endlessly spam Endless Mass, and he will stay frozen. And you can just do that, shoot him, do the reload, use Endless Mass again, switch to the next one, shoot him, do the reload. Now, eventually the two Reavers will spawn, and they will save him from his, you know, endless prison. But because whenever you freeze them, it doesn't encase them in stone. They just remain frozen there, and you can keep shooting them. Now, without that glitch, you could still totally do this fight solo with this tank build, because you just take so little damage that you could still do it even without that glitch. But that glitch just makes it even easier. Like, if you are not like a god tier, super god tier player, if you're just like an average player, you can use this build and just cheese. You will just cheese things purely because of Moaning Winds, which they will probably nerf because, you know. But, you know, Tremors, self-explanatory. With that mod, it gives you armor, and by default, it gives you health regen. With the mod, it gives you extra health regen. Golem, because 65% reduced damage, you need that. And then Endless Mass, because I said, you know, this right here, increase your damage mitigation by 15%, as well as the glitch. Now, if the glitch doesn't work, I suppose you could swap that out for Reflect Bullets if you wanted yet another defensive. That's just more armor mods you would have to worry about getting. Like the one, because you would want the mod that lets you just use it and continue to shoot, obviously, for your main source of damage. But Endless Mass for now, purely because you can use the Vaughn mod and then have the skill point for extra 15% damage mitigation for 10 seconds after it's done using. And then you can get that 15% back again. So it's like 5-second downtime for that 15% damage mitigation if you use it on cooldown. And, I don't know, let's just go into something real quick just so I can show. I don't think it will show because I did this in a group and we got, well, not in a group, with one other person. We got bronze the first time I did this. But, yeah, these all kind of stink, but, yeah, Drought Palace. Let's just go Drought Palace. You can solo any 15 with this. Mountain Outpost with this build is kind of bad, just because of all the Scythans that fly, and they're just insanely annoying to deal with. But that expedition in general is just terrible for most, just because of that. They're just really annoying. Chem Plant, even with the nerfed time, is still very easy. You see how little damage I take. On so many other builds, it's Glass Cannon, and you just die so fast. Look at this. Just running up to this guy. I'll use Golem, whatever. You know, it's shoot, reload, shoot, reload, shoot, reload. And you might kill things faster with certain other damage builds. But like, just think about with this build, how little damage you take, and then you deal still a significant amount of damage to your hero, even with all this. See, and look, I'm just sitting here like a god, pretty much. It's just that simple. And then Tremors, if you need to heal, it will heal you. Endless Mass, 15% damage mitigation, plus the vulnerability. And that's just a little demonstration of just how simple it is. Sandstorm is very useful as well. So these two legendaries are very good just because of the other mods. This one, the Seismic Shock, and then the Sandstorm. See, I'm just sitting here. You know, but yeah, you get the gist of this build just by this tiny demonstration. You could see why it wasn't that challenging to solo Eye of the Storm because of the insane damage mitigation. Another trick I use is leave the flying bugs alive, or one of the flying bugs alive for each elite phase, and it should stop spawns, which they'll probably change to. It should stop spawns after you kill everything else if one of those flying bugs is alive, so you can just sit behind the pillar on the column where you're charging it, and that'll work as well. For the third one, obviously you can't do that because it's those annoying crawlers. But with this build, you know, you can just dominate them. Let's just abandon this because who cares? And that's it. That's this whole build. I'm really surprised they didn't nerf Moaning Winds after this first update. I guess there were just so many people using all the other classes with their ammo builds that... Because technically this is really the most viable Devastator build right now. Because it lets you actually play like a tank, like what you think when you think of a Devastator, and then do damage with Moaning Winds. So yeah, very, very powerful build. And thankfully all the other unique expeditions I have to complete will be a complete joke. I still have to get gold and silver on that, but you know, whatever. It's just that simple. It's so simple. Yeah, we could see here actually the screenshot. Just I gotta... This is me showing off Moaning Winds in a multiplayer game. Just see the damage. Like, granted, these people probably don't have as good gear, but 271 million, and it's just... I mean, Chemplan as well is great for this build, just because there's so many clumps of enemies. Let's just... Yeah, as you can see, if this will load. Eye of the Storm quest completed. Because I wasn't recording it, because I didn't think it would be that easy, but it was that easy. See, Accolade complete, because I completed solo tier 4 after completing it, and it, yeah, I mean, it's just so stupidly easy with this build that if you're a Devastator and you've been struggling, here you go. If you've been struggling with trying to figure out how to do damage, here you go. It's kind of a stupid way to play, but at the same time, it's also kind of funny. So, here you go. Devastators looking for a viable build for tanking and also dishing out damage. Good luck. Good luck, everybody.